September 1, 1943. Rabaul Airfield, New Britain. Lieutenant Commander Saburo Sakai's hand stopped over the intelligence report. His one good eye, the other lost to American gunners a year before, scanned the lines that brought a loud laugh in the sticky operations tent. The Americans had made a new fighter, heavy like a bomber, wide like a transport. They named it the Grumman F6F Hellcat. Our spies say it weighs twice our Mitsubishi A6M Zero, another American mistake in building. Through the tent flaps, Sakai saw his squadron's A6M Zeros lined up on the pierced steel planks. Smooth, quick, deadly. For 2 years, these planes had ruled the Pacific skies. British Hawker Hurricanes, American Curtiss P-40 Warhawks, Dutch Brewster Buffaloes, all fell to the Zero's guns. The Americans' newest try, this fat Hellcat, would fare no better. What Sakai did not know, what no Japanese naval pilots gathering for the morning talk knew, was that in just 30 days this so-called failure would start the end of Japanese naval flying. The Grumman F6F Hellcat would claim a kill rate of 19-1. It destroyed 5,223 enemy planes, while losing only 270 in airfights. It changed carrier battles. It broke Japanese air strength. It showed that the Zero's time of fear rested on wrong ideas. The numbers of sky control were about to change by a plane that looked odd, flew heavy, and broke every rule the Japanese had mastered. Yet in 6 months, the pilots now laughing at spy papers would write last notes home. They would know that meeting Hellcats meant almost sure death. The rising sun's high point. The Japanese Navy's trust in September 1943 was not just pride, it was numbers. Since December 7, 1941, the Imperial Japanese Naval Air Service had won rates that seemed unreal. At Pearl Harbor, they lost 29 planes but destroyed 347. In the Philippines, 7 losses against 103 destroyed. Over Darwin, 2 losses versus 30. The British Far East Fleet's air wing wiped out. The Dutch East Indies Air Force gone in days. At the heart of this power flew the Mitsubishi A6M Zero, a plane that changed fighter rules. When American engineers tested captured Zeros in 1942, they first refused to trust the speed numbers. A fighter with bomber range, biplane turns, guns to wreck anything it chased, it seemed not possible. Warrant Officer Hiroyoshi Nishizawa, who became Japan's top ace with 87 sure kills, wrote in his found diary, "Flying the Zero feels like wearing wings." The plane answers to thoughts, not just stick moves. American planes fly like trucks. Strong but awkward. They make fighters like they make cars. Heavy, overmade, wasteful. The Zero got its wonderwork from new ideas in building. Extra super duralumin, a secret light metal mix, made the frame 30% lighter than American ones. No armor plate for the pilot. No tanks that seal against bullets. Even the radio got pulled out to cut 30 pounds, every bit saved for speed. In his book Hellcat, the F6F in World War II, Barrett Tillman notes how this light build let the Zero turn tight, but left it open to hits. Japanese pilots like Sakai praised it in Samurai, his story of the skies. "The Zero made us kings of the air," Sakai wrote. "It turned fights into dances where we led every step." But by late 1943, cracks showed. American carriers struck from afar. They hit and ran before Zeros could close. Japanese leaders still held firm. Captain Minoru Genda, the plan maker for Pearl Harbor, looked at first Hellcat reports at Fleet Headquarters. His thoughts, kept in Japanese defense files, brushed them off. The Americans learned nothing. This Hellcat keeps their bad way. Beat skill with machine weight. A Zero will circle it easy. Numbers backed him. The Zero's wing load of 22 pounds per square foot gave a turn circle of 612 feet. The Hellcat's 36.5 pounds per square foot meant over 900 feet. In a turn battle, the base of Japanese ways, the Hellcat stood no chance. Early spy news on the Grumman F6F Hellcat came to Japanese ears through neutral Swedish channels in early 1943. The details looked like lies or tricks. The plane weighed 12,186 pounds full. The Zero weighed 5,800. Its wings spread 334 square feet, With a drag-making radial engine, it carried 2,400 rounds of bullets, armor all over, glass that stops bullets, tanks holding 250 gallons that seal hits. Gender's quick look said it all. Too heavy, too slow in turns. Yet under the laugh, worry hid. American factories poured out planes. Japanese ones strained for parts. In Air Power Journal articles from the time, experts like those at Air University noted how Japanese eyes stayed on pilot skill over machine strength, a cultural blind spot. Sakai and Samurai later looked back. We saw the Zero as perfect. We forgot machines change wars too. The first real look came soon. September 30th, 1943. Marcus Island. Petty Officer First Class Yoshio Fukui flew guard for a spy run when he saw them. 6 dark blue shapes climbing from the southeast. His first thought, in his after-fight note, B-25 bombers on an odd path. Then they turned. He saw the shape. One engine, big body, wings short for it. First meet with F6F type fighter, he wrote. First feel. Americans put fighter guns on a torpedo bomber. Fukui rolled into a dive turn. He planned to use the Zero's better turn to get behind. He thought the heavy American would fly straight, letting him to the 6 o'clock spot. But something new happened. The Hellcat did not flee. It did not turn with him. It went straight up. The Pratt & Whitney R2800 double Wasp engine, 2,000 horsepower, 700 more than the Zero's Nakajima Sakai at 1,130, pushed the Hellcat up at 3,500 feet per minute. Fukui tried to follow. His speed dropped as the Zero fought the pull of Earth. At 15,000 feet, the Hellcat did a move not fit for its size, a hammerhead turn that put it right on Fukui's tail. The American fired at 400 meters, Fukui noted. 6 machine guns, not the 4 we thought. The storm of fire was new. My plane took 17 hits in 3 seconds. Only a spin saved me. Fukui made it back to Marcus Island, his Zero full of holes. His wingman, Petty Officer Second Class Masao, did not come home, nor the spy plane. First win for the Hellcat. But this was just the start. Japanese pilots still laughed in tents. They called it a flying tank, clumsy, unfit for their dance of death. In journals like those from the Naval Institute, later looks showed the truth. The Hellcat did not dance. It struck like a hammer. The math of the sky was shifting, and the laughter would soon fade. October 5th, 1943. Task Force 14 hit Wake Island. Lieutenant Yoshio Shiga led 12 Zeros from the 252nd Air Group to stop what looked like another small raid. American carriers had sent these quick attacks for months. They struck and fled before Japanese fighters could fight full. This time proved different. We climbed to 20,000 feet, Shiga wrote in his diary. Below us, 12 F6F fighters in 3 groups. We had every edge. Height, place, surprise. Win seemed sure. The fight that came broke Japanese fight rules. As the Zeros dove on the Hellcats, the American planes did not break apart or try to turn tight. They kept their shape. They sped up in a soft dive that held their power high. When the Zeros shot at farthest range, hoping for good hits, the Hellcats just took the hits. The Hellcat's armor had 212 pounds of plate to guard the pilot, 110 pounds around the oil, tanks that sealed after many hits. In his book, Hellcat Aces of World War II, Barrett Tillman details how this tough build let Hellcats shrug off fire that would end a Zero. As the Zeros used up their bullets in dive runs, the Hellcats hit back. Instead of turning to chase in circles, they turned weight into a tool. They climbed full power to heights where the Zero's engine gasped for air. At 25,000 feet, the Hellcat still made 1,650 horsepower. The Zero dropped to 900. They fell on us like hawks on small birds, Shiga noted. Their heaviness gave speed we could not match. They would dive, shoot those 6 bad guns, then climb away before we moved. 8 Zeros went down, no Hellcats lost. This Wake Island clash marked the Hellcats' first big test. From the carrier Essex, Fighting Squadron 9, known as Fighting 9, flew the strike. Pilot Robert Duncan, in his first real fight, launched in heavy rain that cut sight near to nothing. As told in aviation histories like those from the Naval History and Heritage Command, Duncan and his group spotted the Zeros high above. The Americans used sun at their backs and height to wait. When the Japanese dove, the Hellcats did not play the turn game. They zoomed up after short shots, letting the Zeros chase and tire. Duncan claimed 2 kills that day, his start as an ace. Alex Vratiu, another from the squadron, added to the score in later passes. Vratiu later said in interviews for HistoryNet that the Hellcat felt like a rock, hard to shake, but quick to strike. Japanese reports from the time, kept in defense files and later studied in books like Zero, by Masatake Okumiya, showed shock. Petty officers like Shager wrote of planes that would not break. They climbed where Zeros could not follow, turned dives into traps. One survivor noted in a journal entry, "The new Grumman does not fight like the Wildcat. It runs not, turns not, but kills from far." We thought weight a curse. It became their sword. The old way, lure into turns, circle till the tail, failed. Zeros, light and quick at low heights, lost power up high. Their 1,130 horsepower Nakajima Sakai engine choked thin air. The Hellcat's 2,000 horsepower Pratt & Whitney R2800 double wasp laughed at it. Word spread fast through Japanese bases. At Rabaul, pilots met after the news. Laughter turned to questions. Why did the heavy one climb so? How did it take hits and fly on? In articles from Air Power Journal, experts point to this shift. Japanese tactics built on one-on-one skill. Americans learned teamwork and height fights. The Hellcat forced change. No longer could Zeros pick the fight. They had to climb first, spot first. Tasks where eyes strained and engines strained more. November 11, 1943. Rabaul. Pilots of the 204th Air Group heard Lieutenant Commander Tao Tanimizu brief on American ways. Tanimizu, with 32 wins, lived through more than one Hellcat meet. "Forget all you know of sky fights," he said. "The Americans change the rules. They fight not our fight. They fight like men who end lives, not heroes." Tanimizu laid out the hard lesson Japanese pilots learned slow and with cost. The Hellcat built not to beat Zero in turns. It built to never need turns. They used a fight style called energy fighting. Hellcat pilots kept speed and height, turned stored power into fast hits that gave Zero men no time for their quick moves. "They fly in pairs," Tanimizu went on. "One high, one low. You fight one, the other dives on you. Their radios, we mocked for extra weight, let them talk perfect. We fly as lone warriors. They fight as one big tool." In post-war books like Samurai, by Saburo Sakai, Tanimizu's words echo. Sakai, who faced Hellcats soon, wrote, "We trained for grace, they trained for kill math. One wrong turn and the sky ends." This new way showed in numbers. At Wake, 12 Hellcats faced 12 Zeros and 1 full. Losses, 0 American planes to fighters. Japanese, 8 down, 4 damaged bad. Pilot reports from both sides, in files from the U.S. Naval Institute, match. American gun films showed clean hits from dives. Japanese wrecks washed up with .50 caliber holes, big rounds from 6 guns per Hellcat. Each Hellcat Browning M2 machine gun fired 750 rounds per minute. Total, 4,500 rounds per minute. Zero's 220mm cannons and 2 7.7mm machine guns could not match the storm. The fracture grew. Japanese leaders saw the gap. Commander Mitsuo Fuchida, who led the Pearl Harbor strike, now worked air plans for the fleet. At Truk Lagoon in December 1943, he checked hurt Zeros from Hellcat fights. The firepower difference stood clear in math. Hellcat's .50 caliber bullets weighed 46 grams each, traveled at 2,900 feet per second, gave 3,500 foot-pounds of force. Zero's 7.7mm rounds weighed 11 grams at 2,300 feet per second, 750 foot-pounds. Worse, American radar led fighters. Japanese still used eyes to find foes. Hellcats got sent to spots from ships that saw planes 50 miles off. Lieutenant Sadamu Komachi told of his first radar-led fight. "We climbed through clouds when they struck. No sign, no sight. Hellcats dove from top, right on our path, set perfect. They knew our place, height, way. We fought blind against those who saw in night. In Aviation Club notes from post-war times, Komachi called the Hellcat his worst foe, not for turns, but for the system around it. The laughter intense faded to plans, but plans came late. The sky's math now favored the heavy one. January 1944, the Japanese side faced a deep problem in those men. The pilot lack grew into a full break. Before the war, the Imperial Navy's flyer school stood as the world's hardest. Training lasted 3 years. Pilots hit fights with 700 flight hours. Army ones got 500 at least. They learned flips, gun work, and the deep thoughts of air war. As told in books like Kamikaze Diaries by Emiko Onuki-Tierney, these men saw flying as art and duty mixed. By early 1944, Navy pilots went to war with 300 hours. Army with 200. Fuel runs low meant most practice came in gliders. Gunshots limited to 50 rounds each. Group flies, night work, radio talks, all cut to rush men front. American pilots came with 300 hours at least, 50 in their plane type. They shot thousands of test rounds, landed on carriers till it felt easy, learned power fights safe over Texas fields. Lieutenant Commander Yoshihiro Hashimoto, trainer at Kasumigahara Naval Air Station, wrote in his last paper, "We send boys to face pros." Yesterday, Ensign Yamamoto reached the line. He never shot guns in air. No bullets for try. Never flew night. No fuel for that. He lasted 7 minutes in first fight. In articles from the Asia-Pacific Journal, experts note how this rush killed skill. Early aces like Nishizawa shone. But green men fed the Hellcat's guns. This gap showed clear in June 1944. The Philippine Sea. The Great Marianas Turkey Shoot. The Japanese Navy sent its fixed-up carrier group to Operation A-Go. The big fight to end American carrier power in the Pacific. 9 carriers, 450 planes, their best-left pilots. Against them, Task Force 58, 15 carriers, 956 planes, 450 Grumman F6F Hellcats. Admiral Jisaburo Ozawa sent strikes in 4 waves. Sure that Japanese skill and zero range would win, the first wave of 69 planes left at 8:30. American radar saw them at 150 miles. Hellcats got sent to block with perfect spots. Height edge, sun behind, from Japanese blind sides. Lieutenant Zenji Abe led the fighter guard. He saw the Hellcats minutes before clash. They stacked from 20,000 to 30,000 feet, at least 60, waiting like a steel wall. We at 18,000 feet, every good point theirs. The fight lasted 12 minutes. Of 69 Japanese planes, 42 went down. Commander David McCampbell, head of Air Group 15, took 7 that day. His wingman, Lieutenant Roy Rushing, got 6. "The Zeros tried turns with us," McCampbell said in reports. "We just said no. High side run, shoot one, zoom, climb back up. They chase, stall. Another Hellcat picks them." By day end, Japanese lost 346 carrier planes, plus 50 from land. American losses, 30 from all. In ready rooms that night, pilots named it Turkey Shoot. Enemy planes flew like birds for easy shots. Books like Clash of the Carriers by Barrett Tillman paint the full picture. Hellcats used height and teams to end strikes before they near. Zeros, low on fuel from long runs, turned to fight but met walls of fire. One pilot from the Essex wrote in his log, "They came in strings. We cut them like wheat. No turn chases, just dive, burst, pull up." The Zero's light frame broke under .50 caliber hits. Hellcat armor held. Ozawa's men claimed wins from far looks. Burning carriers they saw not. Real news crushed them. 4 carriers lost most planes, pilots too. In Warfare History Network pieces, survivors told of sky full of blue hunters. No escape in turns. Only run, but fuel gone. The shoot broke Japanese air heart, but the pilot hole dug deeper. By October 1944, the lack hit peak. The Formosa Revelation, October 12th to 16th. The Battle of Formosa. Vice Admiral Shigeru Fukudome, head of the 2nd Air Fleet, threw all to stop American carrier hits on Formosa. Over 700 planes. Last trained men from home schools. Japanese claimed big win. 26 carriers and battleships sunk. 300 planes gone. Truth came when pilots back and gun films checked. Full loss. Real American hits, 89 planes. Japanese 329. And near all skilled pilots. Lieutenant Sadaki Akamatsu, one of few old hands left, wrote in his book, "The Hellcats waited at every height. We climb, they above. We dive, they below. They split sky into boxes, each held by a group, not fight, just end. From the carriers like Lexington, Hellcats of Task Group 38.1 flew the guard. They met waves of Zeros and bombers, used radar to spot far, dove from sun. 6 Hellcats, then 8 more, faced 30 Japanese and downed 27. 1 loss. In Wikipedia notes and Navy files, the math stands cold. Japanese rushed green pilots into meat grinder. Many crashed on takeoff. Fuel short. Planes old. Hellcats, fresh from yards, climbed fast, shot sure. Akamatsu saw friends flame in first pass. No time for zero tricks. The heavy American turned air to trap. Articles in Business Insider call it rout that hurt Japan last month. Lost men could not train new. Lost planes no fix. Fukudome's fleet, once proud, sent boys to die. The laughter of 1943. Gone to ghosts. This Formosa blood showed the end near. Pilot crisis fed on itself. Training cut to 40 to 50 hours for Navy, 60 to 70 for Army. Kamikaze men, 40 to 50 total, 7 days. As in proceedings from the U.S. Naval Institute, old views said 17 hours top. But diaries show less. Boys with no hours in type, sent to crash on ships. Americans built aces. Japanese burned them. The Hellcat swept not just Zeros, it swept a generation. October 24, 1944, the Battle of Leyte Gulf. Commander David McCampbell set his one-mission mark in this fight. Leading 7 Hellcats from the Essex, he met a force of 60 Japanese planes aimed at the American fleet. In the 90-minute battle, McCampbell downed 9 planes, 5 Zeros and 4 bombers. His wingman Roy Rushing wrecked 6 more. "I used all bullets after the 9th kill," McCampbell wrote in his log. "The Hellcat worked perfect all through. Not one hit on my plane, though, outmatched 8 to 1. This clash showed the full turn of air power. 7 Hellcats beat 60 Japanese. Destroyed 15. No loss." In the Smithsonian Magazine article on the mission, pilots tell how McCampbell led the group high. They waited for the strike. Dove from the sun. Short bursts from 6 guns. Then Zoom climbs to reset. Zeros tried turns but stalled in chase. Hellcats picked them easy. McCampbell's 2 ace days, 7 kills June 19th and 9 here, won him the Medal of Honor and Navy Cross. From the Essex and other fast carriers, 586 Hellcats flew in Leyte Gulf, 39 more from Escort 1s. As noted in Naval History magazine, they guarded landings and smashed raids. Japanese pilots, low on skill now, flew into traps. Japanese views from the fight. In books like Leyte Gulf, A New History of the World's Largest Sea Battle by David Hobbs, show the break. Admiral Ozawa based plans on wrong tales from pilots back. They claimed big American fires and sinks, but radar and Hellcats cut strikes short. One Zero leader wrote in afternotes, "The blue fighters came from nowhere, coordinated like one mind. Our turns meant nothing. They hit and gone before we turn." Ozawa lost 4 carriers, most planes. In the book, Hobbs uses old files to show how pilot lack fed the rout. Green men died fast, old ones too few. The mindfall came after Philippine Sea and Leyte. What Japanese doctors later called Hellcat fear hit survivors. Admiral Ozawa wrote in his report, "The enemy's radar-led fight direction did what we thought not, made air war like factory work. Each Hellcat, not a lone bird but part of big tool. Our men, no matter skill, fought not planes, but whole setup." In post-war interviews from files, pilots said the sky felt watched. No safe turn, always a dive from high. One said, "We laughed at the heavy one, now it hunts us like ghosts." By early 1945, the short grew worse. Training down to 40 to 50 hours for Navy. Kamikaze, same in 7 days. As in U.S. Naval Institute papers, old rules said more time. but need pushed boys out. In Leyte, many crashed on launch, fuel gone, planes patched. Hellcats new from lines ruled. April to June 1945, Operation Iceberg, Okinawa. Japanese sent 1,900 kamikaze runs at the fleet offshore. The Hellcat turned not just fighter, but shield against mad dives. Lieutenant Eugene Valencia led his flying group of Hellcats. He downed 23 Japanese planes in the push. His new ways, groups of 4 in team hits, made old tactics death. "We made what we called the mowing tool," Valencia said in accounts. 4 Hellcats in line ahead, spaced 100 yards. Sweep through groups at high speed. Each man covers his part. 1 pass, climb up, do again. In Air and Space Forces magazine, the math hits hard. Off Okinawa, April 17th, 4 Hellcats from Yorktown did a wonder. At 25,000 feet, they spotted a big raid. Dove through. Downed 17 in one sweep. No loss. Hellcats flew 38,038 fight runs in Okinawa, claimed 2,351 wins against 249 lost. Rate 9.5 to 1. Key: stopped 80% of kamikaze from ships. As in Osprey's Hellcat Aces of World War II, pilots used height and radar to meet waves far out. Zeros and Vals turned bombs but met firestorms. Japanese side in Army Aviation magazine on Operation Kikusui shows the push. Waves of planes, old Zeros, new Judies aimed to crash decks, but Hellcats broke them. One pilot diary from files: "We fly to die, but the blue ones find us first. No honor in fall to guns before target." Admiral Takejiro Onishi, kamikaze father, said plane: "Normal attack on carrier? Near no chance. Hellcats end it. As bomb? Hit odds 30%. Man dies same. At least means something." In the raids, groups like Valencia's cut numbers, mowed lines of death. Hiroyoshi Nishizawa, top ace with 87 kills, flew guard for first real kamikaze run October 25, 1944. He claimed 86th and 87th, 2 Hellcats. Next day, October 26th, he rode a transport. Shot down by Hellcats from Fighting Squadron 14, Japan's best no plane fell to what he beat once. In Warfare History Network stories, his end marks the turn, skill no match for system. By war close, the gap stood wide. F6F5. Hellcat added water boost to 2,200 horsepower, zero-length rockets, better armor, K-14 gun sight that mathed shots auto. Lieutenant Commander Saburo Sakai, legend with 28 wins, historians say near 15, met Hellcats 1st June 1944. Skill kept him alive. "I did best flips," he wrote in his book, "loops, rolls, splits, S. Every move from 200 fights. The Hellcat followed easy, like play. Lived only cause American forgot drop tank." In later talks, Sakai said, "Zero better turner, Hellcat better killer. We fought wrong war." The mind toll grew. Survivors shook at engine roars, wrote last notes. "If Hellcat comes, no home." In post-war views, like those in naval history, the fear broke will. Japanese air turned to one-way trips. Hellcats not just won skies, they won hearts by break. By war's end, the Grumman F6F Hellcat destroyed 5,223 enemy planes in airfights, lost 270 to fighters. Kill rate 19.3 to 1. Made 305 U.S. Navy aces. Took 75% of all Navy air wins. For Japan, the cost crushed. Of 18,000 naval flyers who started the war, fewer than 100 fight-ready men left by August 1945. In Air and Space Forces magazine, the Hellcat stands as the top Navy fighter of World War II. It ate Japan's Air Force at the key turn. The kamikaze turn marked the full give-up to Hellcat rule. From elite group to crash tools, Japan could not fight straight. Vice Admiral Takejiro Onishi, kamikaze start, put it in cold numbers. A 0 hit on carrier normal? Chance near 0. Hellcats stop it. As bomb? Hit odds 30%. Pilot dies same. At least death counts. October 25th, 1944. Hiroyoshi Nishizawa guarded the first true kamikaze flight by Lieutenant Yukio Seki. He claimed his 86th and 87th kills, 2 Hellcats. Next day, October 26th, Nishizawa flew as rider on a transport. Downed by Hellcats from Fighting Squadron 14. Japan's top ace, no fighter, fell to the plane he touched once. In aviation notes, his loss shows the shift, skill bent to setup. August 15, 1945. Emperor Hirohito's give-up words on radio. At Atsugi Airfield, Captain Minoru Genda, who brushed off the Hellcat as weight over skill, heard the voice. Around him, bits of Japanese naval air, teen pilots with 40 hours, planes fixed from scraps, tanks empty. That day, Ensign Clarence Moore of Fighting Squadron 31 from the USS Belleau Wood downed a Yokosuka D-4Y Judy dive bomber after 200 post-meridium, the last air win of World War II. The Japanese pilot, blind to the end, neared the American fleet when Moore met him. 2 quick bursts from the Hellcat's 6 guns closed the Pacific Air War. As in military history now accounts, 4 Hellcats from the Yorktown flew near Tokyo when news hit. They clashed a last group of Zeros and Jacks in sad end fight, September 1945. Atsugi Airfield. First American planes to land after give-up, 12 F6F Hellcats from the USS Yorktown. Japanese pilots, fix men, ground teams lined the strip to eye their hard foe close. American pilot Lieutenant Robert Vasu, ace with 19 wins, showed the Hellcat's power to Japanese flyers. His light flips, loops, rolls, climbs that would rip a Zero left them quiet. "You must see," Vasu said through Talkman, "this not even push. In fight with water mix, 20% more strong. Plane set for 13 G-forces. Never broke one. In naval history and heritage command files, this show marked the turn. Foes from fight now shared sky in peace." The build check after. Japanese builders studied Court Hellcats post-war. They found the full American edge in make. The Pratt & Whitney R2800 engine held 2,804 parts cut true. Each fit any other R2800. The Nakajima Sakai needed hand match, no two same. Professor Jiro Horikoshi, Zero maker, looked deep at the Hellcat after war. His end thought cut hard. "We built a plane for 1941. They built a full air setup for 1945. While we honed the blade, they made the factory time." In U.S. Naval Institute pieces, Horikoshi's view ties to his role in last year Air Guard. He saw the Zero's start shine fade to system war, the make wonder. Grumman's Hellcat build turned to arms. The Bethpage, New York plant ran 24 hours, 7 days. At top, 1 new Hellcat offline every 60 minutes. The firm made 12,275 Hellcats in 30 months. A task Japanese minds could not grasp. In 1944, Japan built 5,100 fighters, all kinds. America, 35,000 that year alone. The buildway had new steps that stunned Japanese watchers. Workers with color guides for hard parts, shifts non-stop, quality held with speed. As in Naval History and Heritage Command, much of the plant rose as first Hellcats flew out. The plan change. The Hellcat not just won fights, it changed sea war. Old rules said carriers weak spots that must hit first to live. The Hellcat flipped it. Carriers to strongholds that take and push back any air hit. Admiral Mark Mitcher, head of Task Force 58, knew the shift. With Hellcat, we need not find them first, let come. The F6F ends them when we want. This sure let big push moves. American carriers sat off faux shores weeks. Hellcat roofs made them near no hit to air. In post-war books, this edge let island jumps without fear. The way clash. Past tech, the Hellcat stood for a thinkway that broke Japanese war rules. Samurai ways pushed one skill, spirit force, take of death. The Hellcat meant set work, stuff edge, save life. This think gap meant Japanese pilots could not shift to Hellcat ways even when they knew. The idea to skip fight when bad, key to Hellcat rules, stood not think to men taught in Bushido. In J Aircraft reviews of Winged Samurai, Saburo Sakai's tale shows this. He met 15 Hellcats June 24, 1944, thought them friends at first, fled in wild moves but lived by luck. The time judge. In 1962, U.S. Navy held a talk on Pacific Air War. American and Japanese old hands met to share past looks. Captain David McCampbell, Navy's top ace with 34 wins, said plain, "The Hellcat won the Pacific Air War. Full stop. It broke Japanese air and made our win sure." Commander Saburo Sakai answered, "The Zero stood better fighter. The Hellcat better arms full. We missed the gap till late. We brought blades to gunfight and asked why lose." The last count. The Hellcat's rule boils to plain numbers that tell deep tale. Kill rate 19-1 full, 13-1 just on zeros. Hellcats made 12,275 in 30 months. Zeros 1943 to 1945, near 6,000. American pilots taught on Hellcats over 5,000. Japanese fightmen left August 1945, under 100. Admiral Jisaburo Ozawa, who led at Philippine Sea, gave true end look. "We laughed at Hellcat because we missed it, stood not just plain but full land's warway. When laugh stopped, our air force is gone." The last say. Lieutenant Commander Saburo Sakai lived to 2000 in his end talk, asked on Hellcat. His words caught the full rule. The Zero made Japan great sea power. The Hellcat made Japan see it never as great as thought. We held as warriors. The Hellcat showed us men with old tools face new time. Every Japanese pilot who lived war lived, cause Hellcat man chose let live, that the full loss be at foes kind. The Grumman F6F Hellcat joined fight weighing twice the Zero. With armor Zero lacked, powered by engine Japanese could not make, armed with guns they could not meet, led by radars they could not see, flown by men they could not match in train, made in counts they could not dream. Japanese pilots laughed at it because they missed every extra pound, meant not weak, but strength of free-make land that could guard its fighters. When they saw, laugh turned to last home notes. Mock to one-way flights. Trust to full fall. The Hellcat not just beat Zeros, it broke full war think, proved in new fight, land that builds better full wins land that builds better men only. The Japanese pilots laughed at the Grumman F6F Hellcat. The Hellcat had last laugh. It always did.